Jim Runestad, the state senator, Republican from White Lake. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Michael Patrick.
How do I know this is really you? How do I know you are who you say you are?
Well, that's a problem because what people have found here in the state of Michigan and other states is that there is a problem with what's called phone spoofing, and that is when a caller changes the caller ID to any other number than the actual calling number. So in this case, it actually is my phone number, but I'm sure most of your listeners have had the experience of seeing calls come in, and it looks like it's a local number, and so you think, well, this is some friend or a local individual that needs to get in touch with me, and they pick up the phone, and it is some telemarketing scam operation, and they hang the phone up. And it's interesting, I posted this bill online, and I had so many responses, some people saying 70% of the calls they get are these phone spoofing calls. And my wife and I probably get several a day that are coming into our phones. So it's a real problem.
I know AT&T, that's the service I have, has introduced a technology where sometimes it'll say spam alert or fraud risk, but not always.
Correct. And the good news is that the FCC, which had more complaints with this than anything else that they have by far, they proposed new rules to require companies to adopt new technologies that would give all phones a unique authentication ID so that the companies can then, that are transmitting the call, can trace the origin. And then it will be very easy, and in conjunction with this law, if there's any fraud involved, they will be facing a felony.
Senator Jim Runestad, the Republican from White Lake, on phone spoofing. And the other surprising thing to me is that sometimes these nefarious people, and I don't know where they are in the world, they're looking to scam people, can actually take your own phone number and use it to disguise theirs as well?
Yes. One of the complaints I saw a lot of online is that people get the calls to their phone number and say, hey, would you stop calling me, or, what are you doing? And one of these scammers use your phone number and then do a robocall out to thousands of people with your own phone number. Or they could use your cell phone number to call your landline, or your landline to call you, so you think it's someone in your family. So it's a major problem.
You might get a call back from somebody then saying, hey, who are you, and why did you call me, and what is this all about? And you would have no idea what they're even talking about.
Exactly. Yeah, it's going on all the time.
4 billion robocalls per month. And where are they coming from, and who are the people perpetrating them, if you know?
They could be coming from in the United States or overseas, or even within the state. And right now, it's very difficult to track those. That's going to be coming to an end. We will be finding out as soon as this rule change is implemented. But their goal usually is money, as in almost all these cases. The AARP said there was a huge scam last year against seniors with spoofers mimicking the Social Security Administration, getting their information, claiming to be the Social Security Administration. So it's not just an inconvenience. Quite frequently, it is directly trying to scam you by getting your information.
Your Senate Bill 647 would do exactly what?
It would say that if you are making these calls, camouflaging the phone number with the intent to commit fraud, that you will be facing up to 6 years in prison and a $10,000 fine.
And does that mean the crime has to be perpetrated from inside Michigan?
No, my understanding is if they're perpetrating it with a phone number in Michigan, that qualifies.
So the person could be, what if it's somebody, calling from Indonesia or something like that? How are you going to police, they're not going to be subject to Michigan law, right?
They would not be probably the long arm of the yeah, they would be subject to it, but the long arm of the law, could it get to Indonesia? That is sounds like it would be a difficult thing to achieve, but I don't know. It depends. A lot of countries have reciprocity in these types of things, so that a country like ours would say, listen, we have all these agreements with you, and you're going to enforce these international laws, and we're going to enforce the ones in our country. So that is something that I have to explore. And is there, or could we make international agreements to go after these people from the country of origin?
Do you have confidence in the Senate Majority Leader Mike Shirkey?
Yes.
Are you disheartened that the budget process is still not resolved, and some of those charities that are trying to figure out what their budget is going to be for 2020 still don't know?
Yes, I am disheartened, but I really think there has to be a clarification of what's occurred, because what I'm seeing in the media is not really an accurate representation of what's happened. What happened is that the charities, the foundations, they were funded. The autism organizations, they were funded in the budget. The secondary road patrols, we hear so many complaints about, they were funded. Having the tethers for these prisoners, they were funded. All of these things were funded, and the governor vetoed them, or she shifted within the budget the dollar amounts. For example, there was about 5 bridges that she stood under and said, these are going to collapse any day when she was on the campaign trail. We funded the repair of those for $25 million. She just then shifted that over to buses in Detroit. Well, there's no legislature, I think, in the world that would operate the way this is being done, that you, as the representation of the people and the legal authority to make the budget and allocate the budget and where the dollars are going to go, have a czar at the top that shifts all the money back and forth all over the place, so that really you have no purpose. Your purpose is removed. So we have asked that she not use this administrative board. It's kind of a antiquated thing that was for a very limited purpose that is now being used by her in every budget, moving millions of dollars all over the place. I think it was $675 million. She shifted here and there and all over the place.
Yeah, it's not the money, Senator. It's the amount, as they say. Thank you.